The Big Dog Postgame Show is brought to you by Viner X Consulting. We make your company work. And by Rick Jacklich, the big dog himself, at the Jacklich Law Group. Welcome into the last postgame show of this football season. Maryland falls 38-28 at Ford Field against Michigan State. This is the Big Dog postgame show. I'm Wayne. That's Mason. We'll hear from Bruce in a moment. And the best thing I can say about tonight is the Terps didn't give up. It looked pretty bad there in the first half, but Maryland manages to make it a game and then just can't finish it. Mason, it's a lot of the same story as most of these other games. What did you make of it tonight?
Yeah, I thought that effort-wise, they brought it. They were definitely challenged. But again, I feel like we continue to have the inability to do the little things right. Tackling earlier in the game was an issue, lining up correctly, really, kind of mentally being in that game mode. And then late in the game, when the stakes are high, when the effort's high, when the guys are trying to get it done, yet another, personal foul penalty puts this team in a poor position. They're unable to get that stop on fourth down. I thought offensively they were able to find a lot of those under routes and drag routes that were really working for them. Malik gave them every opportunity to really win this game, but then they finally get that interception. They have that opportunity there, and we see the play calling go away from what's worked throughout this game and really throughout the season. They tried two deep balls, which we haven't seen since week 4 against Wisconsin, really work for us, and they kind of squander away that opportunity and then unable to get the stop on fourth down. But the takeaways are the season's over. I think it's pretty clear what we need to do in the portal to get this team competitive. We got to go out in there and do that, and then retain some talent that we've seen flash this year and really find 15 to 20 guys that can add value to this team going into next year.
You would have liked to have seen the same thing that you saw in the third quarter going to the fourth quarter. And somehow, the Terps got away from it. They were really working that inside route. Jaleel Farouk had a great last game, and I think you mentioned during the game, it's a lot of the fellows you're seeing catching the ball. It's the last time you're going to see them. Smith, Punch Knots, Jaleel Farouk.
Yeah.
And that's it. End of the career for them. Not really sure they got everything out of them. And then during this game, you really started to see the passing game come together. And if that one run, it ended up being recorded as a run to DeJuan Williams or was recorded as a pass, that might have been enough to break the all-time single-game record, which I think is still held by Scott Milanovic.
Yeah, I think you saw this team really take advantage of a poor secondary. They were able to do that, and that's something I think we've all pointed to and said, why can't we do that? I think tonight they were able to do that. There's not a lot to say. It's just another one that goes on the list of missed opportunity. The chip shot field goal, the coaching there at the end of the first half with the not taking the field goal and trying to make something happen. And they showed the 3 games in a row in the middle of the season that kind of destructed this team. Yeah. Certainly destructed the record. And I think you add this one, even though the end result's 10 points, I think you add it to that list of just, it was there. You had everything going for you. Other teams have beat us like that this season, and we just can't overcome.
No.
There's just something there.
Well, we've talked about resilience time and again, and you needed one more drive. It's the same,
but
one more play.
You need guys to buy into the team concept instead of the me concept and not do things like rip the opposing team's helmet off.
Yeah.
It can't happen.
No. You saw it coming. Jalen Husky almost got one.
Yeah. I mean, some guys you would expect to be getting into it, like a Jalen Husky. That guy never knows if he's going to be able to play this game again. He's more than likely going to be drafted. He's put together a great season with the position change. But a guy that's in his sophomore year, that's done that, multiple times this season, it's like the last piece that's indicative of us. We've been able to clean that up by a mile here. It's one of the only good coaching points you can point to. But then again, it prevents you from being in position to win the game.
Yeah. And they need one more play, and then on that last touchdown, you see Sidney Stewart playing middle linebacker instead of rushing the passer. I'm not sure what happened there. We're going to go to break here. We'll hear from Bruce and we'll be back on final thoughts for the 2025 season and what lies ahead. We'll see you in a moment. Since 1991, VinerX has made your company work.
From technology planning to project execution, VinerX turns IT into a growth engine. VinerX, enterprise technology, human first.
All right, Wayne, time to do this post game, and it's not a pleasant one. Terps lose 38-28 despite a record-setting performance by Malik Washington, 38 for 61 passes, 459 yards, 3 TDs, and really just a special effort for the kid. Yeah, he missed a few balls, but when you throw 61, you think they're all going to be in the money? I mean, you think even a pro quarterback can put them all in the money? And I don't think so. So much promise with Malik, and we look forward to him coming back next year. And hopefully Locks, look, we know Locks is staying. Hopefully he can keep everybody from leaving, or guys, obviously guys who graduated are leaving, but I'm talking about the freshmen, the sophomores, and juniors. We don't want to lose a ton of guys in the portal. We want to pick up a few, and hopefully Loxley can hold on to that great rush end he's got, and a few more freshmen coming in. The story of the game, down 24-7 at halftime, which in and of itself was a problem because we had a shot to take a field goal. Locks decided to go for it, and it didn't work out. And then Michigan got a late touchdown to really put us in the hole. We were down 17-0 to boot, came back, and it was 24-7 at halftime. But they scored 3 touchdowns in the third period. They went up and down the field like it was nothing. However, got to that fourth quarter again, and this has been the bugaboo all year. The failure to score in the fourth period cost Maryland certainly a couple games. Not UCLA, well, definitely UCLA, but not Indiana, and not some other teams that we lost, Michigan that we lost to by a lot. But like tonight, and Washington, and those early conference games that we lost. Look, it was a season of promise. And now it's time, after what happened with the final 8 games, it's just time to forget about it and move on. And hopefully Loxley can keep it all together as far as not losing a lot of kids. That's what I worry about. But that's going to about do it, Wayne. 38-28. Terps lose to Michigan State. Some good news. Soccer team wins 3-0 in the quarterfinal game. Next week, to get to the Final Four, they will be at home. And this team is just great. Rocket, Rita, tremendous game for the Maryland soccer team. Okay, that'll do it. Wayne, back to you. And we want to thank VinerX and Rick Shacklish for their support of the post games all year round. And, of course, we'll be back Tuesday night after the Wagner game at College Park. Back to you, Wayne.
All right, back here at the VinerX studios, and we just saw Bruce in the studio, so thanks for chiming in. When you look back over the season, you mentioned it at the end of the Michigan game. We were on the field. What a difference it was from where we were leading Washington 20-3 to where we ended up. You certainly didn't expect to never win another game, and it almost felt throughout the season you almost didn't have the lead again.
Yeah.
For all that time. So there's a lot of growth. You keep hearing that's a young team, and in certain places it's young, and other places we just didn't have enough guys.
Yeah.
And I think that's been my theme for years. You need more guys who can play at this level because people are going to get injured. You need to rotate out, and your depth is constantly tested. And the other thing that's always going to be tested in this league is your resolve. And I'm really happy with how this particular game ended up, that you really saw the fire that you wanted, and had you played at that level, maybe a couple other games, it could have been different.
Or all day today.
The whole game. You just can't put an entire game together. And it certainly cost the Terrapins in the 2025 season. What do you see for next year? Do you think these guys are going to stay around?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a lot of the decision of keeping this thing going on is that there's confidence in that and the resources of it. I look at this team right now, with minor attrition in the roster as just they need to find 3 or 4 defensive tackles that can really play the game. And then you can kind of mix and match parts there on the edges when you really have to stop the run. They just have to strengthen the roster overall. Obviously, they're going to be portal shopping for receivers. They're probably going to try and find some offensive linemen that can really make an upgrade. We're not looking for as much patchwork guys as we're looking for, real upgrade players there. They need to find some wide receivers. They need to find a blocking tight end, and they got to strengthen the interior defensive line. And then overall, just, find places where you can upgrade talent at safety, continue to upgrade the defensive backfield, and really just, I think you're in that kind of spot where you would hope guys are going to take another step. You really don't know if that's the case. But it's really soon, really early to be talking about that. I mean, a lot of things are going to shake out here in the next week, and then you'll wait for bowl season, and you'll kind of find, the playoff teams, guys that want to enter the portal will do that, and we should be in for it. But look, Locks is going to pull out all the stops trying to get this team to be in a position where it can win 7 games next year, and you would just hope that the admin made a very wise decision in trusting him to continue his job here, and that he can find a way to get talent, address those spots, and get this team in a position to play. One thing I want to focus on, a lot of road trips this year, a lot of good content, some record-breaking numbers from you guys that watch us here on the show every week, the return of the podcast. A lot of good things for us to be thankful for with this season being over, but definitely some disappointing results. It really it felt like it could have been something special this year, but as you mentioned, whether it was the resolve, whether it was the coaching, whether it was the actual just circumstance of the game and some calls here or there, it just feels like a ginormous missed opportunity.
It always does. When you could have, should have, would have won, and you probably can mark down at least 3 games, if not 4. And what a difference it would be how everybody feels about this team. Even if you said, hey, we could have gotten to 7-1 and we would have finished,
7-5. It would have been a collapse, but
yeah,
we would have been walking away knowing that things are going in the right direction. But right now, it really just feels like another one that just goes in the things of, we don't do, somewhere in our process, there's something that prevents us from being able to win right now.
To finish. Cannot finish. But we are finished for tonight. We'll talk to you after all this portal stuff starts and stops, after the signing period opens and closes, because I think things will look different for your Maryland Terrapins. But for now, for Jordan, who's off camera, and we thank him for all the work he's done this season, thank you for watching. That's Mason. I'm Wayne, and Bruce back in the studio. We will see you after the early signing period. Good evening.